right, good evening, East Hampton School Board. We're live, you're being recorded, and you may begin.
Good evening and welcome. And can I have a motion to open the meeting?
Make the motion.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we are going to start off tonight with a presentation. New bond project discussion.
All right. Well, it gives me great pleasure to start our first conversation regarding our possible capital project. This would be our major bond projects. I want to stress to the Board of Education and the community that this is very early in the stage of planning for a project. There's a lot of time that needs to pass, a lot of planning that needs to pass, a lot of input from our board and the community that needs to pass before we get to putting this on the ballot. I think we're looking to put it ultimately on the ballot, hopefully if everything goes right, in May of 2025. So this is your first introduction to kind of some ideas that we've talked about at facilities and we have talked about as a board. So, obviously these are our significant big projects that we do. The Transportation Center was the last big project that we did. We floated that bond. We were very thankful the community supported it, and thank God we did, considering the pandemic and its impact on transportation. So again, Sam put this in yellow for me. So remember, these are only estimates of costs. They are current costs. They will probably go up, but these are estimates and just things we talked about. Again, none of this is set in stone. This is all part of discussions we had. But there are some things that the board over the years has talked publicly, to be honest, since I was principal, that need to get done. And I'm sure those are going to be things that we have to do and will do. So,
Adam, can you just back up a minute and explain why we're doing this? The other bond is expiring.
Yeah, so our debt is expiring. 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So what we are trying to do is we want to replace that debt payment with a new debt payment. So it basically is an absolute wash. What could happen if you let the debt expire and then we go, let's say 5 more years in, you're then going to have an increase in taxes from there. This way it's kind of a wash and we're closing that gap with an additional project that we need.
Because that would also impact the tax cap and all of that at that time, right?
Yes.
If we let it expire in 5 years after that.
Yes. Our bonds are outside. The bond project would be outside, but we have to, our budget. So these are things that we will potentially talk about a little bit. Roof on the high school gymnasium, all the real exciting ones, the roof on the middle school auditorium, the boiler at John Marshall, a big favorite of everybody's, Charlie's windows that need to get done, the auditorium at the high school, the middle school auditorium, field house, pool, additional turf field, lights on that field. Again, we have in the box. This list is by no means exhaustive. It's all subject to change. None is set in stone. All right, so these are just pictures of the roof at our high school roof at the gymnasium level and the roof at the middle school auditorium. Both need to replace. These are things that are going to need to happen. These are, as Sam would say when we talked about it, you have to do these now because you're not going to be able to go out for another 20, 30 years to get these things done. And they are big ticket items. As you can see, the estimate for the high school roof is $2 million, with the middle school about $500,000. John Marshall boiler, you're looking at $1.1 million. This would be a lot to pull out of the capital reserve, the repair reserve.
And it has been on its last leg for years.
I mean, that's
one of the reasons.
I had to close school my first year. Right. You could see these are the windows at the middle school, which definitely need to be replaced. I put in italics there. This was something we talked about, and we'll revisit the energy performance contract discussion in January. But it could, if we did end up doing what we were talking about in the parking lot, that could actually pay for itself, and the cost of $2 million would be pulled out of the bond. This to me is a no-brainer. The auditorium needs to be redone at the high school. It's from 1970. The electrical system is from 1970. The lights don't work right. Sound doesn't work right. There's asbestos that needs to be abated. The big piece of this I want to stress, and I think the board knows this, this is a piece the community uses all the time. We use it all the time. It's very important in this community. Our performing arts, our fine arts are obviously big. It's used for everything. It needs to be redone. So just looking at the estimated cost of 10 million before the pandemic, when I was having the initial conversations as principal with our architect, I think we were talking about $3 to $4 million project, pulling it out of capital reserve.
Yeah.
No more. And again, these are prices for estimates of today.
If there was one thing that had to be top of the list, though, I would say that is the one.
Yes.
I mean, absolutely
I
has
think it
to
has
come
to
in
be
this
done.
time, right?
It has to
We've been
be.
trying every which way to figure out how to fit this in and pay for
Yes.
it. So this one has to be there.
Yes, I think the other stuff that was before it is stuff we have to do too.
Mhm.
I would say out of all of the items of that we're going to go ahead with next, that's a hill we should die on.
Yeah.
It needs to be done. It's it's just it's a great space for our kids, and it needs. I mean, the stage needs to go. You literally step in it, your foot goes through it.
I mean, it's older than some of the people that are on the sport.
Yeah.
So.
Right over center.
Yeah. Middle school auditorium, we looked at some ceiling stuff, some plans. They have new, Charlie, seats are brand new that we put in there.
Yeah, they're
so there are some upgrades, but we've just put that in as a $4 million upgrade. So one of the talk has been about putting a field house possibly on our property, an indoor field house with an indoor turf field. One of the things we got exposed to recently was a company that does PVC roofs. This is Stony Brook's facility. What this facility would be is something, again, I've talked for years about opportunities for kids and for our community. This would be the start of that. Where we would put this on the property, I'm thinking the back of the property behind the high school. This is Stony Brook's. Came in lower than our estimates. We obviously estimated high for this right now. We're going to see Stony Brook's next week. We're going to take a look at Stony Brook's, but it would be a great place for kids to participate. Our own sports programs, our youth teams, different schools have different, throughout the country, ways they rent it out and whatnot. That would be something that would be discussed with facilities and policy would have to be developed, but it is it's a wonderful opportunity if we do decide to go this way. And again, you're looking at like 36 million. So this is, we put this all in one slide in order to kind of sum up some of the other ideas. If you don't do the field house, you could do an additional turf field in the back with lights. You could do, which would be small multi-sport field. You could do a pool. That discussion has come up. There's been questions and concerns regarding swimming, and the pool idea has come up. So we didn't want to leave it off. As you can see, we put the estimated cost of the turf. Turf would be like a $2 million project. When you're looking at a pool, an indoor pool, natatorium, you're looking at a lot of money. So you're probably looking at probably $30 to $40 million alone for that. That
the pool is the one thing that would also cost us a lot annually to run.
Yes, you're going to look at. I mean,
the other things are more low maintenance. But that's the one that would be the most expensive, adding to the budget.
So if you look at the field house, like I can hire a teacher off hours or somebody to just run and oversee the facility, shut the facility down whatever the hours are. And again, you could do a pool. The same type of building could be used for a pool. But
could you put a pool in the field? I mean, the field house could.
Yes.
As combined.
Yeah.
There's no limit to it. If you look at, and the company that does this, there are ones that have pool, field, ice rink.
Yeah.
It took a while.
No, these are all like they're big ticket items. Obviously, they're opportunities for kids. But when you look at the running of a pool, like conservatively, 2.5 million a year, probably budget wise, to run the pool, maintain the pool, supervise the pool, pay the lifeguards and whatnot. Whereas the field house doesn't have that. Field house is, your coach is going for practice. Kathy walks next door, walks in, monitors it. We have, let's say we have, it's winter. We have our clubs, local clubs, using it, kids programs. You have somebody in there who can, monitor, supervise it, shut it down. You could build around that facility too. Sandy brought up a few times, maybe to put you could do basketball. There's one with a field house, basketball court, 14,000 square foot basketball court. So those other things can also
And
be.
we could use basketball court. There's not another, outdoor one on any of our properties.
Yep,
Except for
absolutely.
John Marshall.
We can also use it for.
Yeah.
That's what it's out there.
Yes, not ruling anything. Yeah.
The life expectancy of the YMCA pool is just
It's getting shorter.
dwindling by the day.
Yeah, not, again, these are options for the community. This is,
But it's good.
things for the community.
That community will also give us some input
Right.
as to what they
Yeah.
feel that we should include.
When you look at space, like, I think it was 2 years ago, we did a tour and walked around space. And when you look at the space and enrollment, the decline in enrollment and space, we looked at maybe adding, some office space to John Marshall classrooms. We don't need that. We just don't need that. The high school is not tight. The capacity of the high school can operate at 1,250 healthy, and we're never gonna hit that. Middle school numbers are good. I don't think we're gonna build another floor on the middle school. Those things aren't gonna happen. But these are other options and the community and the board might just decide, all right, we need to do the repairs, the boilers and the auditorium. And that might be it. But these are other options that would fit into kind of the realm of where we are when it comes to that debt coming off of our budget.
Adam, I have a question. With respect to our auditoriums, does the middle school auditorium, as it now is, hold the whole middle school? 6, 7, and 8?
Yeah.
Is it big enough?
Yes.
All right. What about our high school?
High school does not right now. Last time I had everybody in there, it was and that's when I was at like 900. It was, that's a little over. No, the high school will not. There's, what are you at, 1030?
No, as we look at the new one, would we want it to be seats for 1,000, let's say, because that's probably what our high school would be.
When we speak to the architect after that, I think those are the questions that come up. And one thing I am adamantly against is adding a balcony and blowing the roof off the building. I think that is cost prohibitive for us. I've said, if we could do it in the existing shell, expand the dressing room behind, I think we've talked about putting dressing rooms in. I'd rather do that. But where is seating and how, like, maybe you can curve upwards? I don't know. Mike would have to take a look at that.
How short is it right now?
You're around 800. What are you, 800?
800, around 800 capacity. We're about 1,032 total student body.
So to get and our high school population right now is what?
A little over 1,000, about 1,032.
All right, so to get 1,000 seats in the present space.
Without a balcony, I think it's impossible.
But pushing the stage back.
Yeah, I mean, I have.
There is a lot of space in the front.
So the pit, the way the pit is, you could definitely add probably 50 seats into the pit area. The stage is an issue at the high schools because the stage is, for some reason, was built on a slab. I think for the idea of cost, leaving the slab where it is, so meaning giving up under stage storage, because getting rid of that slab, what it's going to take in manpower and excavation materials, it's just not worth it. You're rather leave that, build a new stage around that, put some more seating in there. Maybe Sarah gets up to 850, maybe 900, possibly there. And again, enrollment is declining. I mean, again, there could be an influx of students, but I don't see us staying at 1032 over the next 5-6 years. By the time this project starts, you might be down to the normal numbers around 920 or whatnot. But again,
Our enrollment projections show the high school going toward about 900.
we're going down, I think we're going down a total of over the next 10 years. The predictions were total of across the board, we're down 273 students district wide. I'm trying,
Yeah, it was
That's
somewhere
what-
around there.
yeah, at district wide. So almost 10%, almost a 15% decline in school enrollments. But again, I think somebody just said it, like, these are all ideas. So we know where the auditorium is and what it provides, but the other stuff we're talking about it's all based on opportunity for children.
Right.
And leaving, or creating a place where kids could do more and have more access to the East End. So not only our athletic programs, but our youth programs can compete. They have a year-round facility. Southampton has a year-round facility. It's an idea to have a year-round facility. Maybe a pool is the direction we go. Maybe to have that for us and our kids, another basketball court. It's all about creating opportunity for kids here, and that's kind of the driving force before all that. And again, the auditorium's the same. It's opportunity for kids. Our kids deserve a new auditorium. And again, it hasn't been. We did put some new stuff in it. We painted the walls. We built some stuff up there, but it really hasn't been touched since 1970.
Well, and there's not going to be any more field space coming, so we need to be able to,
Right.
In the town, the village, anywhere. So
Yep.
we need to be able to utilize our campuses.
Yep.
100%.
Absolutely.
Right.
Every inch is important for the kids. Yeah.
For the kids.
Right.
Do you want to take this part? These?
Sure.
All right, so we could talk about the financing. I mean, it's all very, the planning stage is obviously very important. Then, of course, the question is how we're going to pay for it. And I think it's important to recognize that there is going to be a lag between when we settle on what we're going to, what you want to present to the voters and when you actually see the project start to rise from the ground. The design process that we go through is we will have essentially a preliminary design to show the public and to enable them to understand your vision, but the details of what that actually means is not done until after the project if the project is approved. And from there it has to go to estimating and permitting from the state, which can range. I've seen projects approved in 20 weeks, and in my career, I've seen projects that have taken 56 weeks. So, and that's where you're just sitting waiting for the permit, doing nothing. So, and then you get the permit, you have to bid it out, you have to vet the contractors, then you have to work into their schedule, and you have to work into the schedule of the school, doing work like starting with a major asbestos abatement, in the auditorium here in the high school. That's probably going to be a summer project. So depending where the timing would be, we could have the permit at hand, we could have the bidding done, and then we're sitting tight for several months. So anyway, the timing is important.
All of these would need SED approval too, right? All the ones that we talked about that we really need to do. Everything.
Particularly because this is all capital work. So yes,
Right.
this is
So all of them would go to SED.
Yes.
Take
And again, it
time.
depends what their schedule is, depends on how complicated the project is, and it depends on, what our timing is relative to the timing of when contractors are. You don't want to bid it and start it immediately if it means you're paying a premium to get the contractor here immediately.
Right.
If you can afford to wait for the calendar to tick around and then you are starting fresh on the contractor's year, particularly taking advantage of the time we have in the summer, when the students aren't here, you can get better pricing and better work. So debt is exempt under the property tax calculation. But as Adam said, we ideally want to make the debt service that we pay as smooth as possible, so the taxpayers don't see a spike in that up and down. The question was asked earlier about why the timing now, and it's true that we're going to retire debt at some point when this is going to be ready to go. But also, these projects need to happen. I think we're all in agreement that the roof, the boiler, the windows, the auditorium, they're musts. They're musts in order for us to be able to keep school open and keep it functioning the way that we need it to function. So you can see here, I'm sorry, this little bit here for Zoom is on the bottom here, but we can look at other sources of funds to pay for certain things. There we go. Thank you. And the capital reserve is a source of funds that we have. So we have a pool of money. So we may want to access some of that as part of whatever is presented to the voters. Adam talked about the energy performance contract. I mean, then we've tossed about, there's different ways that we can help to tap into various sources of money to pay for these projects. What am I advancing here?
At the keyboard. Arrow. Keyboard. With the light.
I got it. Thank you. All right. So between tonight and June, this is where, my recommendation, I think Adam agrees with this, is that you're receiving feedback from the community about what they want to see. And I don't know exactly what form you want to solicit that feedback is, but this is where you hear from the public about what they want and how that meets in your vision as a board of what you want the district to be doing here. Over the summer through this time next year, the facilities committee and board members are going to need to work with Mike Guido, our architect, to sort of finalize the conceptual plans about what we want, what's acceptable, what do you hear from the community, so that way we can put together something so that by May of 25, we're ready to go on the ballot. I assume this timeline is obviously fluid, and I assume that you don't want to do a special election for this, although you could change that in the future.
No.
So, right. So May of 25 is your target. And we include the board's email address here, so if members of the public are watching this and they want to give feedback directly to the board, they can do that. I think that's it.
Well, hopefully the press will cover it.
Yeah.
Are we putting anything on our website about it, or?
We can put the presentation up. I've reached out to East Hampton Star already and started preliminary discussions with them already this week. So that would be great. And then, I think as we go, we just keep this active in, old business, and we just continue to talk about it. And again, I think, like Ward had said, the fixing and building up some of the infrastructure are no-brainers, including the auditorium. It just becomes the other items, and if they're feasible.
Field house versus pool versus turf field, all that kind of.
Yeah.
That's going to depend more on the community.
Yeah.
Feedback.
Yeah. It's and again, like we're lucky that Stony Brook built this just recently. I think they built it last year. We'll get to take a look at what it looks like, what it entails, and to see.
And that was a lot less than that 36 million.
Yeah, I don't know, and Sam would have to answer this question, and we'll ask him when we go, but I don't know if Stony Brook has to do they have to pay prevailing
I
wage?
think so. It's a public entity. I'm guessing, yes, because any municipality or the state has to.
Because I think they paid 12 and for theirs, I'm pretty sure they paid 12. And we listed, I think we're being smart in our estimates here going forward and making sure. Plus, I think we want a bigger, from what I've heard when we've had discussions about it, the idea of having an indoor track in there too was brought up and some other frilly things. So I think that would line up with kind of the numbers.
We also have to look at, for that building, finishes, parking situation, utilities to it. I mean, all that stuff adds cost. So where it is, what sort of power it needs, what sort of water it needs, septic, all that adds up fast.
Yep.
Well, Mike Guido has never steered us wrong. He's really pretty accurate when he comes up with these things, and we usually come in under budget. So
yeah, I know.
All right. News of the schools.
Yeah, I will go first because I'm going to read Karen's. Karen is not here because her daughter is receiving All League tonight at the county dinner.
Sub-county volleyball.
Yes. So I thought that was okay to excuse her for that. Never again, but okay. So she wanted to thank our K-Kids and Activity Club advisors, Susan Peterson, Alba Pettis, and Pamela Sandoval, for organizing our first appearance at the East Hampton Town Parade. It was a wonderful opportunity for our students. Planning is already in the works for next year. A special thank you to our PTA for donating the beautiful banner. She did put some photos that nobody could see on my email that I'm reading, so I will be busy month at John Marshall, December. Early dismissal, 12:30 for parent-teacher conferences this Wednesday and Thursday. Next week's our PTA holiday sale. Students will have the opportunity to buy gifts for their immediate family. The 4th and 5th grade winter concert is on Wednesday, December 13th at 6 p.m. in the gymnasium. The week of the 18th is our school spirit week as we lead up to the winter recess. Students should get their holiday attire ready for a week full of spirit. Themes are on our December calendar. She'd like to thank John Marshall Sunshine and our transportation department for reviving our long-standing John Marshall caroling tradition. Last week, staff carolers visited the homes of 2 retired staff members and delivered cheer to Susan Vaughn and Tom Corby. It was a reminder of how something so simple can be so powerful.
That's great.
That's what yes.
There's also a PTA parent social at the clubhouse this Thursday from 7 to 9.
And there's also old school meeting on Friday for anyone that wants to come.
After the Thursday.
After Thursday night. You had a good time.
Bring your headphones.
So for us, it's very much the same. Concert season is upon us. We had our 6th grade concert last Wednesday night, which was great. But the best part of that was the our brand new group, our orchestra group under the direction of Robert Thoreau. The chamber orchestra made its debut, and it was fantastic. You had a lot of kids. And, you're always prepared at that level, musically and developmentally, for a lot of the stringed instruments are notoriously difficult for middle schoolers, and they were phenomenal. They were just.
They were great.
It was really,
and it's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Correct.
In that group.
Correct.
Wonderful.
That's the 6th grade concert, and that is that brand new group that the board approved last year. So it's good to see that they've, started off on a strong footing. And then tomorrow night we have our grade 7 and 8 concert, and that will feature the Bonettes. And then we are done for our concert season. We had great representation over the weekend on Saturday at the village, all the village festivities. David Cataletto and the Surf Riders and the student government participated in the parade in the morning, and then our Bonettes in the afternoon sang at the holiday market, which was excellent because it was another good experience for them to have another place that they could sing and contribute to the community. We wrapped up right before Thanksgiving our service learning project, which is building wide, where our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders participate in gathering all sorts of items for the food pantry. And really the 6th and 7th graders are the ones that bring in as much as they possibly can from home. And then our 8th graders actually make the delivery. So the shopping carts that we borrow from across the street get walked over by all of our 8th graders. And that is such a good experience Thanksgiving. And then the middle school's $1,400 this year toward that. So they were able to, Lee and Barbara were able to take that money and fill in where we didn't have the kinds of goods that they wanted to go into the carts. So that was really great. And then our PTA hosted a fundraiser the day, that Wednesday night before Thanksgiving at the clubhouse, and they actually made over $7,000. So that was a really great event that drew a number of folks, and they'll have another big one.
That was good. Was that the dueling piano?
Exactly. Yeah. They'll have another one in the spring. I think it's better to have fewer, better events where you can, and 7,000 is a pretty good haul for an evening. So we should have something similar, and that funds a lot of what we do. That's extra for kids, but I don't like to think of it as extra. It's really integral to their experience. And it's those things that we wouldn't budget for as a building or as a school district, but make things, special and fun. And then finally, we'll have right before the holiday break, our hot cocoa and donuts that we've traditionally had. And then we're going to revive the Jingle Bell Run, which is the relay that we do that Barbara and Lee head up as part of Bonnet Board to Wellness in the park. And that will take place. That's for all eager beavers at 7 a.m. in the morning. So if you're interested,
It's really popular though.
it's
a lot of kids
extremely popular. For some reason,
love
we're on the
it.
early end of things, so we do a lot of early morning activities, and they're there, raring to go.
Yeah.
So if you would like to be there, it's easy to call. We'll see you then. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
Sarah?
Hi, everyone. So we had a great turnout for our bonnet lights on Friday, and the rain held off mostly. And I would like to give a genuine thank you to the Masons, and in particular, of course, Brian Lester, who is the mastermind behind this. And all of those generous donations do go to our student scholarships. So it was a great night. the band was there, and then they were at the parade in the morning. So a double header for our band, but again, great representation of our schools in the community at those various events as well. We have our community forum tomorrow night at 6. Sally Frieri, who's a retired New York City detective, will be speaking to parents and all members of the community who are interested about internet safety and protecting our students and our children from the various ills that we all know are available there. We have tackled this topic before, but more from the lens of psychology and the addictive nature. He'll be coming more from the law enforcement lens. So just same topic, but from a different angle. LTV will be there recording it. So if anybody is not available to make it in person, it will be available on our website. I'll send it out via Parent Square and also on LTV. So it should be a great night. In terms of student presentations, we're very excited to welcome graduate Sutton Lynch back. Sutton was featured in the New York Times with his work with drones and his environmental work. So we have selected certain art and science classes for him to speak to our students about his path, and which is sort of a unique path, following his own passion. So that's next week, December 13th in the afternoon. So we're excited to welcome him back for that. And then of course, concert season, we have our concert December 14th at 6:30, our large ensemble, which is always just a wonderful night of talent. So if you can make it, it's always a great night. And that's all. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. First and foremost, all our submissions had to be in by yesterday, but every single one of our full varsity teams are New York State Scholar Athlete teams this year. Okay. Last weekend's Spring Gardener tournament was a huge success. We have the largest number of wrestlers that we have had in decades, probably since the Ryans had run it. Ethan is doing a wonderful job with that. It was a really good turnout. This is a big weekend for Bonnet Athletics. We have our Kendall Madison tip-off tournament this Friday and Saturday. Games Friday night are 5. Bridgehampton will play Mattituck, and then at 7 o'clock we will play Ross. Saturday morning we'll begin with our Hall of Fame breakfast at 9 a.m. You have all your invitations right there. Induction ceremony will be at 10:30, but you don't want to miss the M&R breakfast. It's going to be very good. Kaylin and I picked it up. Okay. The wall unveiling will be done right after we're done with all the inductions. This year's inductions are Aaron Abram from class of 2001, Earl Hobson from 1995, Kim Valverde from 2011, and the 53-54 boys basketball team. This is why we moved it from the fall to the basketball season, because a lot has to do with basketball with Earl and the basketball team. But we would love to see you out there. We have made the basketball game, whoever East Hampton is playing, we're going to be playing in the championship game, but that game will be at 12 o'clock, where all of the inductees will be announced before the game and at halftime if they're still staying. So that game, no matter if it's the championship game or consolation, East Hampton will be playing at 12, followed by the next game at 2 p.m.
Kathy,
Yes, sir.
I graduated high school in 1953. How many of that basketball team are alive?
Well, I have some help. I have a little bird that's been helping me. I am not exactly sure, but there has been, I want to say, we have reached out to every member of the team, and at least a representative from the family is going to be here. That's the last we had talked.
Older than Huey King, they gotta be.
And Hugh King is going to be the one introducing them. And I told him he's only allowed to speak for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If not, we'll be here on Monday. Thanks, guys.
All right. Moving on to the public comment. Do we have any callers on the line?
We have no callers at this time.
Can I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Uh,
Superintendent's report and recommendations. Non-instructional appointment, automotive mechanic 3, recommended that the board approve the non-instructional appointment of Anthony LaFontaine to the position of auto mechanic 3. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any comment?
Everybody's here and he's moving up civil service.
So recommended that the board approve the memorandum of agreement between East Hampton Union Free School District and the East Hampton School Administrators Association dated December 5th, 2023, regarding revised contractual terms and conditions of employment from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2029. Can I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, admin, thank you. I want to personally thank the EHAA, Charlie Soriano, president. Negotiations were very good, and I really appreciate working with our administrators here. I mean, I talked to them today individually as a group, and I'm really pleased. This is, really locks a very talented group in for another 5 years.
And for us, if I could speak for the association, I just, Adam brought a real integrity and respectability to the process, and I think that was extremely important. It was certainly a give and take, and we wound up with a deal, I think, that was good for all parties, which is how it should be. So thank you, Adam.
Additional teaching sections appointments. Recommended that the board approve additional teaching section appointments effective November 27th, 2023 through the remainder of the 2023-24 school year with compensation prorated from Brian Smith to Kevin Luby.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's just, we're just covering a teacher we had a teacher who resigned and went to another district. We were unable to find a replacement this late in the year. We are very lucky that our internal science teacher is accepted and they'll cover it, which is best for continuity of instruction.
Recommended that the board approve the amended instructional probationary appointment for elementary education teacher Cassandra Minogue. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
That's just amended. She actually, Ms. Minogue actually was in the district longer as a leave, so that leave counts towards her tenure. So she just changed, we had to change her tenure date.
All in favor?
Aye.
Donation. Recommended that the board accept with gratitude the following donation. Resolved that the Board of Education of the East Hampton Union Free School District accepts with gratitude a donation from M.J. Garapi Jr. of a 2005 Ford F-150 pickup truck for use by students in the automotive repair CTE program. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
Thank you
Great,
very
thank
much.
you.
It's great.
Thank you.
They'll use the parts and it'll be great for the kids.
All in favor?
Aye.
Recommended that the board approve the following agreements and revised proposal for the 2023 to 2024 school year.
These are all standard consultant agreements, transportation agreements, nothing out of the ordinary.
Right, these are all every year.
Yep.
Sports agreements.
Yep.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Budgetary line increase. Recommended that the board approve a budgetary line increase for the 23-24 school year. Resolved the Board of Education of East Hampton Union Free School District hereby authorizes a budgetary increase to the following budget line, the 2023-24 budget, in an amount not to exceed $15,108.09 to be offset by the reserve for employee benefit accrued liability reserve pursuant to general municipal law. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
A second.
Discussion?
Retirement?
All in favor?
Aye.
Budget transfers. Recommended that the board approve the attached budget transfers for the 2023-24 school year. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
And these are all.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, business. Facilities Committee.
We actually talked about facilities, so I don't think there's much to cover, but I just want to go back to consent. I just want to bring up the fact, I didn't mention, I know we put it on consent now, but Sam Fulford is retiring, longtime custodian at East Hampton. So I just want to thank Neil, Sam, for his service. Neil, his brother, was my custodian when I was principal, so Neil went a few years before that. Sam went, so Sam has decided to hang it up. So a great run here at East Hampton.
New business. Does anybody have any new business? Public comment. Do we have any callers?
We have no callers.
We have no audience for public comment. So, motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make motion, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting.
Thank you. Good night.
Oh, good.